everyone, I'm Jessica Stutzman and welcome back to the Mill Creek Government Channel. During today's show, we want you to feel safe and excited to navigate downtown Erie during the COVID-19 pandemic. The views of Lake Erie sunsets, the green spaces, and bayfront trails can still be enjoyed by all, and the arts, great restaurants, and special events still need your support now more than ever. In today's tough times, that may mean so virtually or socially distant from others. Joining us from Erie Downtown Partnership to discuss bringing the community back together safely are John Buchner, Chief Executive Officer, and Dave Tamulonis, Events Manager. John, thank you so much for being here with us today. We are so excited to have you back in the studio. And yes, you can take your mask off because we are socially distant from each other here in the studio. But we're just so glad to have you back. And your smiling face, it's so wonderful.
Well, thank you, Jessica. And we do look at this as the opportunity, because it is. We really do want to re-engage as a community. Mm-hmm. And all along the pandemic has impacted all of us. And when we look at the community aspect that we have in our downtowns and even our own neighborhoods, we miss that. We miss being people. And now it is the fact that we want to re-engage and we want to reconnect. And we really want to re-engage and advance the community, really advance the downtown community, recontinue the momentum that was going on in downtown into the next level.
Yeah, I do. I know that everybody has done a really wonderful job, in quarantine, hunkering down, and we're excited to see each other now. And I know we saw each other out in the hallway, and of course we did the elbow bump and, instead of the handshake or hug that we're used to doing. So how has the pandemic shaped your planning for this upcoming year?
Yeah, yes, and you know what, the pandemic has affected everyone and everything. And we have all had to make the adjustments, and including the plans. But what we looked at last year, when we had a chance to engage last year and talk to one another, we learned from that. We did some experimentation, but we used that, what we call the data or the experimentation, to factor into our plans for this year. How we engage one another is the way it's going to be until things may change in terms of whether that be through vaccinations or whatever. But we've all come to say, if this is how we're safely engaging, then that's great. But we still want to engage. And we're all used to some online, not just meetings, but even family reunions and just catch-ups. But we really do miss and yearn for the time to safely re-engage as a community, enjoy the assets that we have, which realistically are why we all live in Erie. In the community, and I think a lot of it is part of that is that planning phase. So I think our big message is safety is a concern. It's always been a concern, and we want to keep it that way, because the best thing we want to do is make sure that people have fun, but do so safely.
Mm-hmm. And I have found it interesting. Everybody's comfort levels during the pandemic, they are all different. But what's most important when engaging in the downtown events that you are hosting is that you have rules to follow.
Right.
And of course, those are best practices also given to you by the health department.
Right.
So with that being said, what sort of initiatives are new to this year?
And that's a good question, because we are planning for that, but we get that question all the time. I mean, and again, I look at what we learned from last year to what we're looking at applying this year. We were very grateful to receive some grant funds that enabled us to purchase some equipment that can, as you're dealing with public space, because this is the world we live in, is the public areas, but like Perry Square, for instance, or the Bayfront, or even Griswold Park. But if we're there having an event, or even they're just hosting a listening session, we want to make sure that area is as safe as it can be. So we do have the hand sanitization equipment, we do have the fogging or the demolectilizing machinery, and that's all part of it. And we have plans to add more based upon need. But I think the overarching, reality of what we're planning is the fact that there is a phased return of employees as well as visitors to our downtown, and we're making sure that we have the proper procedures and protocol in place. And a key element of that is working with our city government, our county government, the community, or the county's health department, and of course our state. Understandably, there are those restrictions, but we want to make sure that we're safe and you are safe, and that's critical to us.
And I know you guys do take such care again, dotting all your I's, crossing all your T's, making sure that you are doing everything you possibly can to make sure, again, the community is safe, but your own employees.
Correct.
Because, if one of your planners goes down, where do you go from there? So I know you guys are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you for that.
Yes, and so let's talk about something very new, Designing for Distance pilot program.
Yeah, so the Design for Distance and we call Design for Distance and Dignity really did spawn out of the reality of, during the pandemic of last year, which we're still under to a certain extent, many our businesses and organizations and facilities were closed, and our vulnerable population and others still had needs. And our group was still present. We were doing so safely, but we were engaging in a safe way and realized that, as a community, how are these needs being met? So we ended up getting initial grant from some organizations that helped us bring in a design group that said, how can you take a public area, wherever that might be, but in this case downtown, and how can you transform an area so that you can, supply, actually provide for those in need, and indirectly you're really making the overall experience a more positive experience, because now those needs are being met, and well as some of the business needs are being met. So it's an opportunity for us to say to our community, you care, and we all care about those needs, and it's a pilot program that we're working with the steering committee. We just received word that we received additional grant funds, which enable us to really do with what we need to do, our diligence, as well as the fact of implementation at some point here in 21.
That's wonderful, and I'm so glad you got that grant funding. I know that's always so crucial to make really anything go
Correct.
forward these days.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's more than grant funding too, because as we know in the planning process, you have a grant that may enable you to take it to a certain level, but then you're going to need other partners and other stakeholders, and it's amazing how certain organizations and certain people and certain other groups really do reach out and say, you know what, I love what you're doing. Can we help? And this is more than just volunteerism. Oftentimes there's the funding aspect to it. And we welcome that, because again, it just shows overall they care about their community and they want to make a difference. So it's we're really excited, and we have been engaging with those because we do want to turn this into reality.
yes, and you have played a huge role in safety and hospitality ambassadors in the downtown recovery. What have you guys done?
Yeah, good question. And so, we've always been a group where we're small in number, but we do provide a cleaning service in our downtown footprint that we oversee, but it's limited, and throughout the pandemic, it was really pushed because of the need, because there were no other places open. The more public areas became used even more. So the litter and the graffiti and just the other, I'll say waste elements, illegal dumping, really became a demand, so that we've been looking at how do you improve that, not just from a litter, but really from a re-engagement and from a safety aspect. Numerous communities across Pennsylvania and across the nation have ambassador programs in place, and these are trained individuals. I mean, they're all local. I mean, we're hiring local, but it's that training and familiarization of they're doing more than just cleaning. They're welcoming you, they're engaging with you. Maybe they're providing directions. Maybe they're saying to a person in need, hey, are you aware of such and such organization? So it's multifunctioning, but it truly is an opportunity for us, which will take additional, resources, but it really is a needed element that can take the downtown experience to the next level.
I think that's such a fantastic idea. You guys are always so creative, and you do make the downtown so welcoming.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for that, because that's part of our role. Our mission is to work with our group and others. We always say we want to make downtown safe, we want to make it fun, and we want to make it welcoming. And in all reality, these are just placemaking and welcoming aspects about your downtown experience. And that's how, when we've been doing some outreach to talk to different organizations and how can they be involved, it truly is elevating the downtown experience. When you look at the amount of investment that is going on in downtown Erie, and a lot of that will be open within a few months later this year and into next, that's a significant investment. And this public space area is the area that we're within, but how do we also get the investment for that public space so that you can get a return on that, I'll say the physical investment with the buildings and the housing, but it truly connects it with the experience, because you want to come back, you want to work there, you want to live there, you want to and be entertained there, and you want to do so safely.
Yes, and I do want to get into what those events are. John, thank you so much for joining us here today. I do want to bring Dave into the studio next so we can talk about some of the exciting stuff coming up this summer and how you guys have just changed and adapted and really kept us all in the loop with each other during this really, really tough time. So
Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Take care.
Yes, thank you. Next up, we have Dave Tamulonis joining us here from Erie Downtown Partnership to just continue our conversation that we were just having with John Buchner. And Dave is going to tell us all about an exciting but safe summer that we get to have downtown. Dave, again, thank you so much for joining us here. You must have learned a lot during all the safe events that you held last year. What were some of those lessons?
Yeah, so we, downtown was still open. There were still a lot of people going to work, a lot of businesses open, even through last summer. So we did our best to try to activate the public space, build safe density last year. We brought on a couple new events that we had planned even before COVID, including a downtown farmers market. We started these clean and green work days where volunteers could come down and earn gift certificates that they could spend at downtown businesses for helping us clean up the streets. We had our socially distant yoga in Perry Square, and I think that public spaces offer us a really good opportunity in the wake of the pandemic to safely gather again, because it is outdoors. We have an abundance of green space downtown and space to spread out. So public spaces like Perry Square, Griswold Park, they offer a great opportunity to start that re-engagement, start building that density again. So I think the biggest thing we learned was the massive potential of public space in our downtown area.
And you saw that space to expand, and so you grew with it. Did you learn a lot of your information, by watching the news, or were you in direct contact with the health department?
Yeah, we were in direct contact with the health department, the city, the state, and everybody was just sort of sharing information. And last year it was all, even in the beginning of summer, was all just sort of guesswork, like how can we safely do stuff, how can we still safely gather, even in outdoor spaces. I think now a lot of that guesswork has been taken out of the equation, and we have a couple really clear guidelines that we can use to build our summer events plan off of.
Mm-hmm. And what does that new summer events list look like?
So we're trying to bring back some of the stuff that we were planning to do before COVID, like movies in Perry Square, Monday evenings in the summer, family-friendly movies, encouraging people to bring blankets and their own chairs and spread out in the grassy area. We're bringing back the Downtown Farmers Market as a weekly event every Sunday starting in mid-June, and really ramping up the amount of vendors we have and giving those vendors an opportunity to sell. Some of the other events, we're bringing back yoga, fitness classes, athletic leagues. We're trying to create the opportunity for more events to occur in our public spaces. I think some of the biggest opportunities we have are to safely build that density with stuff like semi-permanent outdoor dining infrastructure in Perry Square, really offering an opportunity to businesses to utilize that space to bring their customers back downtown.
Mm-hmm. And I know you got a lot of great feedback from participants and a lot of people who were grateful that you were doing this kind of, these kind of events and still hosting them. Can you share what some of the residents, feedback or comments were?
Yeah, the residents of downtown were certainly glad to still have stuff going on. I think the farmers market last summer offered an opportunity for residents of some of the downtown apartment buildings to receive fresh produce where they wouldn't have to ride the bus to Walmart or wherever from downtown. So it's that convenience, bringing those resources to the urban core. A lot of the feedback we received from our member businesses was incredibly positive. The fact that we were still trying to do stuff. Our Fall Fest in Griswold Park, I received some feedback from Andy Steinmetz, owner of Vandora's Bubble Tea, down on State Street and North Park Row. He said that Sunday, even though the Fall Fest was in Griswold Park, that was his Sunday that had the best sales. So events, wherever they are in downtown, bringing back that density is going to affect all the businesses in downtown. It's going to affect all of the organizations, institutions, being able to safely build back is going to be centered around events and placemaking.
So Dave, tell us about some of the really big events that residents and visitors are used to coming to downtown.
Yeah, so our marquee events, like we would typically celebrate Downtown Delights. I know last year we weren't able to have the tree lighting ceremony in person, but we did a couple things, the tree sale, some advanced business marketing around the event. But we're hoping to safely bring back events like Downtown Delights, our Fall Fest, of course, returning, and then we have plans to bring Lake Erie Ice Fest to the community in early 2022. So in terms of how, by that point, we're hoping that the vaccination levels have increased and that some of the restrictions are being loosened so that we can safely gather again and have our tree lighting ceremony. We could safely bring on new big events like the Ice Fest. We're hoping that by the winter we'll be in a place where that's going to be possible.
That is so exciting, so fantastic. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but you know when somebody is smiling behind their mask. And I love all the pictures that you share because, you know that everybody is really enjoying being downtown and socializing. And I think it's really, really important for our mental health to be able to do these again.
Yeah, and we heard that from vendors, from attendees, that it just felt so good to interact with people again. Mm-hmm. And we like to share photos from our events of people safely wearing masks and stuff to show that this is possible to get out there, follow the rules, and still have a good time.
Mm-hmm. I know that's what I look for too. I do, peek at the photos and I say, oh, everything looks like it's going really well. So I know this is an event that's safe for my family, and I'm cognizant of my 3-year-old, and I make sure she stays close to me and wearing her mask. So.
Yeah, and safety is going to be a big priority this year and moving forward for everybody. I know John talked about the Safety and Hospitality Ambassador team. Bringing them on not only is going to be that welcoming presence in downtown to keep downtown safe, but it's going to help with our event labor. It's going to help with welcoming attendees to our events and helping everybody feel safe and supported. So safety, cleanliness, that's all going to be a very big part of bringing events back downtown and a really big part of our mission in general.
And so it kind of just leads me into my next question here. How will events and activation help the downtown recover? Because businesses, we all know that they suffered. I think we all tried very, very hard to support local business, to do takeout and things like that. But do you want to expand on just how all of these plans are really going to help these businesses bounce back here?
Sure, and we know as a community development organization, people are community development. Bringing people downtown, bringing people back is going to further the development of downtown, whether it's businesses that are looking for new employees, businesses that are looking to rent new housing downtown, small businesses that are selling, small locally owned businesses that are located downtown that need customers. The people are what drive economic development in a region. So if we have a plan through events, placemaking, activation, activities, programming to safely bring people back downtown, to safely build that density back in the urban core, that's going to support all of those other areas just by the nature of bringing the people back.
Yes. And again, you have a wonderful social media page where you keep a lot of things up to date. But can you just tell our viewers, where can they find information? Your website, social media, calling, where can they turn to?
Yeah, our website is eriedowntown.com, and we're going to have an events calendar on that website throughout the summer, so you can check, what day is yoga, what day is the cleanup days, when we're going to have lectures in the park, when we're going to have, sports leagues. Stuff like that will all be, the information will all be on our website, eriedowntown.com. We will also have all of our events up on Facebook, at our Instagram, at Erie Downtown, and throughout the community on community calendars and in marketing these events. We hope to reach as many people as possible.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dave. Is there one last thing you wanted to add before our show comes to a close today?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to come on here and talk about it, and just putting it out to the community. Downtown and your region, the community really stepped up last year. We saw a lot of support for our downtown businesses. You know, we sold $80,000 in downtown gift certificates,
Wow.
where as a normal year we might sell 10,000. So people really stepped up and supported downtown, and I think just calling out to the community, keep up that support. You know, we could certainly use it. The businesses could certainly use it. Your institutions downtown are looking to re-engage with the community. So just keep up the great work here, and keep up the great work in the community, and keep supporting the recovery of downtown Erie.
Well, thank you so much. Again, I'm so impressed by that number you just shared with us. It does make me feel so happy to know that, you know, I know we had you guys on the show last year and we promoted that program, and I'm so glad that it took off. And all of these businesses, again, we're in year 2 of this, so I think we've all learned to change and adapt. But you know, keep wearing your mask, keep washing your hands, and we're all going to get through this together as a community.
Yeah, and we'll be enforcing all the safety procedures and stuff, but you know, people want to get back out there, they want to do things, and I think you're going to see that people are going to pay attention to the rules and what they have to do, as long as it means they're able to get out and shop again, get out and see live music, or get out and participate in events. Mm-hmm. And we saw a lot of that last year. You know, people were more than willing to comply, so we appreciate the cooperation of the community, and we look forward to this year.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I know I'm very excited to get back out there, and you know, you don't want to take anything for granted now. You just, you know, like you said, you follow the rules and you do the right thing, but you don't take the simple things for granted anymore. Just like you said, shopping downtown, visiting a museum. We're so grateful that, you know, everybody who was able to keep their doors open and keep everything sanitized. And again, you guys are doing a wonderful job. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and thanks for having us again.
Sure. Viewers, we have learned so much here today, and I think we just really need to give the viewers a big thank you to supporting our local businesses and our downtown community. We have a lot of fun events coming up in downtown Erie, and I want you to go to the Erie Downtown Partnership website and tune into their social media pages, and just make sure that you continue to support everybody and everything that they're doing. Thank you for tuning into the Mill Creek Government Channel, and until next time, have a great day.